Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good day to you, where you are in the world. We're doing the nighttime devotion. We had a wonderful Sabbath. Thank you for asking. The title today, Persecution by Protestants and Catholics. And this is from the devotional Maranatha. Matthew 10:22. Ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endureth to the end shall be saved. There is no necessity for thinking that we cannot endure persecution. We shall have to go through terrible times. The persecutions of Protestants by Romanism, by which the religion of Jesus Christ was almost annihilated, will be more than rivaled when Protestantism and popery are combined. The commandment-keeping people of God ere long will be placed in a most trying position. But all those who have walked in the light and diffused the light will realize that God interposes in their behalf. When everything looks most forbidding, then the Lord will reveal his power to his faithful ones. When the nation for which God has worked in such a marvelous manner and over which he spread the shield of omnipotence abandons Protestant principles and through its legislature gives countenance and support to Romanism in limiting religious liberty, then God will work in his own power for his people that are true. The tyranny of Rome will be exercised, but Christ is our refuge. When the leading churches of the world uniting upon such points of doctrine are held by them in common, shall influence the state to enforce their decrees and to sustain their institutions, then the Protestant world will have formed an image of the Roman hierarchy, and the infliction of civil penalties upon dissenters will inevitably result. The scriptures teach that popery is to regain its lost supremacy, and that the fires of persecution will be rekindled through the time-serving concessions of the so-called Protestant world. In this time of peril, we can stand only as we have the truth and the power of God. The Protestant of being brought into personal danger and distress, the prospect of being brought into personal danger and distress need not cause despondency, but should quicken the vigor and hopes of God's people. For the time of their peril is the season for God to grant them clearer manifestations of his power. That title again, Persecution by Protestants and Catholics. Now, by this title, we're not talking about all the Catholic people. We're actually talking about the Roman Catholic Church. But where it says about Protestants, you will find the majority, as in 90% of the Protestant world, all worship on a Sunday. And so they're already in bed with and following the Catholic Church, whether they want to believe it or not. They're not keeping the Ten Commandments. The persecutions of Protestants by Romanism that happened way back in the Roman times, when they used to throw all the Christians into the Colosseum with the lions and the gladiators. That time will come again. But it won't be just Protestants or Christians. It will be the people that keep the commandments and have the testimony of Jesus. And the way they will understand who those people are is by those that keep the true Sabbath and do not worship on a Sunday. I like where it says that the scriptures teach that the papacy will regain its lost supremacy. So that is referring to the time of the French Revolution, 1798, when the Pope was taken prisoner and put into prison and died in prison and lost his power. But that power was, or that position was reinstated during the time of Mussolini, which was around about 1922. And this is where the wound begins to heal, and it begins to get its strength back and its power back. Now that was 1922, so we're talking about 100 years later, as we are 104 years later, if I'm correct with 1922. Now, this is the time where Trump, bearing in mind the Pope is American, Trump is working with the Pope, basically to bring the Catholic Church to the forefront of rulership, which is much as it was back then. This is what's fast happening. They're giving power back to the Catholic Church, and that is the time when the Sunday law will be passed and made a global law. Yes, and the Pope will stand up and call himself the leader of the known world. And that's when all God's children, those that keep the commandments, will then have to face persecution. Because by keeping the Sabbath, you're not keeping the first day of the week as the day of worship. And they won't like that. And so they will try and get rid of us all. Are you worried? I suppose if you look at it in that perspective, yeah, you probably would be. But if you look at it at the longer term perspective, the ultimate goal is for us to reach heaven. So whether we die in this world or not, Jesus will come and he will take us, whether from the grave or whether when we're looking at him up in the clouds. Oh, for that great day.